Hey guys, my name is Kyle Morris and I'm owner of the Golf Room here in Dublin, Ohio, and I've been ranked by Golf Digest as Best Young Teacher in America, #1 teacher in the state of Ohio. I am a master Trackman professional. It was actually the first certification I ever got from post-playing professional golf. And now I own the Golf Room, and we are lucky enough to have 12 Trackman inside of our facility to help players of all skill levels get better. Now, what I'm most excited for Trackman, for the community, for you teachers, for players, competitive players, is inside this new Performance Center app inside Trackman Golf. Now, why I'm so excited about it is, as a former professional golfer and just now avid golfer, the hardest thing to do in practice is create stress, right? You would agree with that, right? Like, we can change golf swings and we can make them look amazing, but that's only on the range. How can we simulate stress in the midst of practice? And that's what Trackman has done right now inside this new Performance Center inside the Trackman app. So what I want to do is I want to spend some time going through it and just showing you how do we use it here at the Golf Room for our elite juniors, for our tour players, for our collegiate players, or just our recreational players that just want to get better, the guys and the girls that are 12, 15, 20 handicaps. How can we help them get better? And now when we go through practice, and this is just a personal philosophy, maybe you can learn something from it, maybe not, but like when we go through practice, it is my thought process that we always want to create our practice in 4 stages. It needs to go a program, a block, a random, and a compete. So programming, that's like 3 to 5 minutes of getting the player to own a pattern that they want to own. We got to reset that circuit every day, right? Because players' memories, they're short. They forget what they're trying to do. And we want to calibrate the machine for what it is we want the machine to run like for that day. That might be with a mirror or a plane board or a checkpoint swing laser or something, right? Then from there, we go into our block practice. That's them owning the pattern over and over and over again, right? Trying to build that muscle memory or myelin in your brain so that they're owning the pattern that we want to do. But then after that, we get into the random and the competing. And that, for me, as a player, as a coach, that's the hardest one because we want to build stress. So that's what we can do right here in this Trackman Golf app. So let's dive into it, and let me just show you some of the features that are inside of this and kind of navigate with you, and then I'll jump in, hit some shots, and we'll talk a little bit more about it.
So now that we're in the Trackman app, let's go into performance and show you a little bit about some of the features. So the first thing I want to show you is this free play. So I'm going to go into Performance Center, press free play, and then I'm going to choose a name from one of my students. And now what you can see is that it is basically, I can randomize the yardages based upon what I want to do, or I can set random distance bands based upon, whether it's 30 to 120 or whatever it is that I may want to have. But what I want to do specifically in this example is I'm going to go up here to the top right, and I'm going to show you one of the main features that I really love about this free play. So many times you'll have a student who will come in, and let's just say if we go to green 9 here, they go, I really struggle with back left pins, right? Like I constantly am hitting hooks or what have you. I'm kind of over curving the line. So I can set that pin in the back left, and I can set that to 130 yards. Let's say they kind of struggle with like a 9-iron or so. And then I can hit the same shot over and over and over again from that 130 yards. And it's going to show me the strokes gained relative to the tour for me hitting that shot, which kind of just puts a metric as to how good or how penal that shot may be based upon each shot that I hit. So let me dive right in here into the simulator and show you what this would look like in real life.
All right, so we got my 130 shot. That's 130 yards, back left pin, right? So I'm going to take my pitching wedge, see if I can strike that ball. So I hit it, and it showcases up here. Score of 76, right? That would be on the Trackman. But what's great about this is this gives you a live version, because you know how like when you do the normal Trackman combine, it's on this, but it doesn't really give you a perspective, right? Like, what is this shot relative to if I was on the green, right? Like hitting to this pin. So it gives you that 76. It gives you how far I am from the pin. Obviously, you can see I carried it a little shorter. And then if I were to have selected strokes gained, which we'll do in some of the other tests, it would show you what was my strokes gained relative to tour average for that shot, which obviously on that shot I would have lost strokes relative to the tour. Luckily, I'm not a tour player, so I don't have to compete with those guys because they're really, really good. So let's go into some of the other tests, but you can see that in this free play, you can do anything you want. You can set the yardage to whatever you want. You can set it to like 99 yards. You can set it to strokes gained. You can set it to the combine score. You can change the green complexes to anything that you want that you can see to make it to where, hey, this is a pin that I want to try to work on. So if you have some of those pins based upon maybe some of the stats that you're seeing with some of your elite players, or it's just some of your players, your recreational amateurs that are like, man, I just can't get it over like those greens that have bunkers there, right? Like I'm always short. This could be a way that you could just do free play to essentially create some stress and then also give them an opportunity to quantify how good their performance is. And then you could try to create some games, which we'll talk about that here down with some of these other tests. So let's go back into this and let me show you some of the other games inside the Performance Center.